Spring 2022 is over, and there's one thing I noticed about the season. Not exactly a late realization, but something that didn't come up immediately. This season, albeit strong, features a lot of rom-coms, comedies, and mystery shows. Check out the top shows in the seasonal charts, the ones that everyone's talking about. We have expected hits like Spy Family, Kaguya, and Shikimori, as well as unexpected sleeper hits like Kong Ming. Overall, not a lot of action anime, and even perennial favorite Shield Hero seems to have its first season momentum staggered. But what about my seasonal fights videos? Sure, Spy Family has some action, but you know that's not what we're here to talk about, right? Well, don't even worry. Even in this season that doesn't seem to have a lot of fighting, I managed to find some battles that will get your heart racing and that adrenaline flowing. So let's get to it. The top 10 fights of the Spring 2022 season. Here we go. How about a chill fight to start the list? Here's Arc vs Basilisk. Skeleton Knight in Another World may not have become a mainstream hit this season, but it's a refreshing change of pace. People have jokingly called it the light mode Ainz show, and it's easy to see why. To easily establish the contrast of this show from other serious power fantasy isekais, we have this early fight against the Basilisk. If you were to ask me, I like how the fight maintained the air of tension despite there being a light-hearted backdrop to it. Whereas most isekai heroes would have dispatched this random monster in a showcase of power, Arc struggles a bit against it. Fumbles would be a better word for it, I suppose, as there's really that aura of awkwardness beyond the display of wits and bravery. This fight does what it needs to do. Establish Skeleton Knight in Another World's overall tone and appeal as a more wholesome and light-hearted isekai adventure. If you're up for a more serious adventure in Fantasyland, here's I'm Quitting Heroing. I'm not gonna lie, before the season started, I'm Quitting Heroing wasn't on my watch list. However, upon taking another look at the charts and the premises of each show, I decided to give it a shot in the end. It's got an interesting and unique gimmick to separate itself from the rest of the pack, and so far, I'm liking what it's been doing with the age-old question, what happens to the hero after he's won? It's also got some great fights that the season sorely needed, such as Leo fighting the 4 generals. Bro really pulled the Eren card for the big twist as the anime heads towards the end of its run, and it's here that we get a more direct proof of how powerful hero Leo really is. He goads them into battle, one that he knows very well that he can win without breaking a sweat. In the 4 against 1 fight, he easily shrugs off everything the generals can throw at him, all while responding in kind. The reversal of role plays into the fight so well, with how much he's gloating and brushing off everyone else. Leo really has that villain role practiced to perfection, don't you think? The battle versus the Spirit Tortoise is still pretty good. I said still pretty good because, honestly speaking, there's quite some changed content in this fight that could have made it better. Shield Hero's second season is still something that I did have fun with. Unfortunately, I guess it's about time for it to get hit with the classic light novel adaptation disease of cut or modified content. Guess that's why the series seems to have fallen off since the glory days of, well, just a few years ago. Still, the Spirit Tortoise fight is exciting and enjoyable as its own anime segment. The voice acting, the production size of it, like the visuals and music, are all on par for what you'd want, and they really did play up the threat of this big boss by showing its power and how it and the monsters mowed down armies at the end. We also get some cool new skills from Raphtalia and the gang, but it just needed more build up. It's a good fight, but I really hope you can check out the manga or the novels for this one. The anime does try its best, but I feel there's still just something lost in terms of the sheer magnitude of the fight. Still, if you're up for some intense action that will get you hyped in the same way boss raids do, then this is a nice representation of that. Fine vs Kubo is a simple fight that's enjoyable. I didn't expect Vampire in the Garden to be a fight-heavy series, but in the small number of episodes we had, the show still gave us an enjoyable battle between Fine and Kubo. The two already had a fight early on, but it's nothing compared to the spectacle and the decisiveness of this last one. I like the fight because it's not just a battle between two combatants. Instead, it's a clash of ideals, just as good fights must be. The two represent two opposing values and worldviews. Coexistence or hatred, only one can triumph in the end. This second fight retains the smoothness and the fluidity of the first Fine vs Kubo, Kubo fight, but now adds so much to the stakes, being the climax that we all needed. It also had no shortage of drama and tension thanks to Fine's vampiric nature manifesting. The Netflix release model is a true killer for an anime's lifespan in the community consciousness. Just look at the Stone Ocean and Summertime render. Still, I implore you to watch Vampire in the Garden. It's a short 5 episodes long, but it's definitely worth the journey. Hibiki and Uta vs Undertakers is one of Bubble's top highlights. Bubble overall is a film that has quite divided public opinion. It's not controversial by any means, but the reception has been mixed to say the least. What hasn't had a mixed reception, however, is the universal agreement that it's a masterpiece in terms of visuals. The artistic style, the color quality, the sound direction and such are nothing short of beautiful. And there's no better moment to illustrate all that than the showdown between the protagonists and the Undertakers. It's not as much of a fight than an athletic race through the skies, and with the music and ambient sounds like the people cheering, you get pulled into the moment. This, my friends, is wit at its best, directing fast-paced fights that take the audience on a ride, a bit less figuratively in this scene as we follow the characters fly around and take the battle to the skies while the city collapses. It helps that the music adds so much to the scene, especially when the Undertakers all go after Uta. Many people have called this the best scene in the movie. I certainly agree, which is why I placed it so late in this fight list. Before continuing, how about taking some time to thank today's video sponsors? Because if you're more of a strategist than a fighter, perhaps this game will tickle your fancy. Introducing Samedi Mana, a game that I recently found and I just can't stop playing. Samedi Mana is the latest in the popular genre of tycoon games, and you take the role of a hotshot manager. Your goal? Help Baron Samedi build his army of undead for him to return to the underworld. In order to do so, you need to build farms, manage your resources, recruit the best managers, and improve your structures to restore the Samedi Mana to its former glory. Samedi Mana will test your wits and strategizing, letting you spend hours on end trying to find the most efficient way to manage your resources, be it through training undead or upgrading the proper structures. Other managers also give you a helping hand, and learning their abilities and the bonuses they provide can pay off big time in your quest. Make sure to watch out for special events in order to get even more perks and rewards. A fun game to pass the time, especially when you want to express your brain muscles a bit. Samedi Mana is something I'd like to recommend to everyone. If you're interested in giving this casual game a try, all you have to do is click the link in the description box. Hours of fun and challenges await. For our next fight, we have Spriggan's Yu and Jean taking on Fat Man and Little Boy. When I saw what Spriggan was all about, I knew we'd have something like this coming. I'm talking about a frantic, high-tension fight that pits the two operatives against some of the fiercest foes possible. I know it's going to be one of those thriller action anime, but to have enemies that employ some of the craziest attacks that newcomers could think come out of the left field, this is the wild action that we came here for. The pace and the intensity of the fight was really well conveyed with how the animators decided to do this scene. I mean, it's quite a mess in a good way, but also not to the point where you don't understand what's happening. The camera work is also great in emphasizing the impact of the moves, especially the finishes. Spriggan might have felt a tad bit condensed given that it's just 6 episodes, but in terms of fight choreography and animation, this one has it all. And lastly, we have Everyone versus Kaido and Big Mom. Head up! Has there been a fight in One Piece that has as much hype as this one? If we're talking about modern One Piece, I don't think anything comes close to this one. When two of the biggest and the baddest in Kaido and Big Mom finally team up, we know the world will know fear. But we know Luffy's the last person who would take it lying down, and the time's nigh for the destined showdown between this unholy alliance and the worst generation. And it's shonen goodness as we love it. It stretches for a lot of episodes, showing off a lot of growth in terms of our heroes and a lot of moments backing up the hype that Kaido and Big Mom have. They're not the toughest competition our heroes have faced so far for nothing, and they put on a spectacle for the whole stretch of episodes. But we also get a lot of cool moments from the protagonists, and seeing Luffy and Zoro take the fight to Kaido is truly a sight to behold. One Piece has had its share of hype moments year in and year out, but I don't think anything from recent memory comes close to how well this lived up to it. I can't wait to see the recent manga chapters make it to the anime, and that's something for you guys to look forward to. And there you have it. My top fights for spring 2022. Which one is the best in your opinion? What do you think? Whichever it is, I hope that this video did its job of showing that despite not having a lot of action titles, spring 2022 still has some pretty good fights, some of which you might have overlooked. Meanwhile, you can also check out my other channel, ViniTube Kai, that has more video essays or the more analytical stuff, or simply lists that deal with a more concise focus on a particular title. You can also check out the channel's Discord to join the fun. Patreon and Instagram links will also be in the description box. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.